The Ducks are going to fly south for the autumn and take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders, led by Coach McGuire. And his words from last year reign supreme, that college football runs through Lubbock. No says I, says the Cowboys of Wyoming, as they defeated Texas Tech last week in Cheyenne, Wyoming? Laramie. Wow. Okay. Yeah. See, not familiar with my Midwest. Still, this over-under is it's high. It's high at 69. I think you and I are going to both agree that Oregon's going to do the heavy lifting there.
Yeah, agreed.
It's the spread that gets me. Oregon, minus 6.5. What do you think about this?
Again, I think Vegas is really tempting here because people are going to look at, Texas Tech went up to Wyoming for whatever reason. I don't know why that game was played there. Loses a close game. People are going to hammer Oregon. Perhaps the Ducks don't have the same luck flying south to Lubbock as they did hosting Portland's, segment of the Sisters of the Blind and Poor and those folks yet again. That's what Vegas is doing, I think. And I think I like Oregon to cover that. I know I'm playing right into it, even though I just kind of told you what I think is happening. I think I'm playing into it, man. Wyoming gets 35 on Texas Tech, but Oregon can't cover a touchdown spread. I mean, that's tough for me. I know I'm playing into exactly what I just described, but Oregon is the establishment here, which is another issue I have here, is trusting the establishment. That's what I do. So it gets me killed in betting. And I don't like that Texas Tech has all this buzz coming into the year. All this buzz, if you're dug into the sport. If you're casual, you missed it. You didn't hear it. But people love Coach McGuire. People love what he's done down there.
I love
that program around quite quickly from where they had been. People have loved it. They got so much buzz. They almost erased it in week one. And I think that you can't afford to start 0-2 if you're those guys, but I'm afraid that they're going to. I'm afraid that Oregon's going to walk down there and cover it. That's just kind of where I'm at for this game.
I got you. I'm going to throw something out there that I hope and pray to the Lord, good God Almighty, that you disagree with. But I think Coach McGuire is actually a guy who could go into Columbia and South Carolina and find success.
Yeah, no, I hate that, but I think he's a dude, man. I really do. I don't know. And maybe they lost guys from last year's team that did kind of surge on us, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Maybe they lost guys from that squad and they're not quite prepared to replace them. I mean, web games are hard to win sometimes, even when it is at Wyoming. I'm not really making jokes here, not really taking jabs, but I think he's a guy that could win in a lot of those middle tier to lower upper tier places. I mean, Texas Tech has been successful before. Spurrier brought success to Columbia. I mean, I think he could kind of do some of the same things. I like that guy, but my eyebrows are up. I've got a few red flags based on week one here, and I'm afraid. I'm rooting for Texas Tech in this game, not to cover, to win the game. I'd like to see them do it. Give me some chaos, because that Pac-12, I don't want them just walking into the playoff scenarios. And when the polls start coming out in November, I don't want them walking into that unscathed. I really want them to be tested and have a loss here or there to make it tough. But I'm afraid that I'm afraid for their sake here, for the Red Raiders, that they could get kind of smoked here if they're not careful.
I agree with you. I think as far as the Pac-12 goes, I think they're just going to beat up on one another. Yeah, there's a lot of parity in the Pac-12. Yeah. But what jumps off the page for me statistically for this Texas Tech Oregon game is Texas Tech put up 430 yards of total offense last week. Wow. Oregon, I know they played Portland State. I know they're deaf and blind. They put up 729 yards of offense.
Yeah.
My gosh. And you know where I'm about to go with this, and you know my opinion on Bo Nix. I'm really, really high on Bo Nix. I am. People have got to get out of their mind his time at Auburn. All right. That is over. It is done. The guy put up 381 yards of passing. Again, I know Portland State. I know. But at some point, again, we got to make predictions. I'm going to take the under. 69 is just real high. I think it's just really, really high. I'm going to take Oregon to win, and I'm going to take Oregon to cover. I think you're probably looking at a 10-point difference here. I think Texas Tech bounces back in a sense that, they kind of go toe-to-toe. They jab for jab. Butch Jones would call it a moral victory. You know, what you're going to see out of Texas Tech is them bouncing back. I know it's going to come in the form of a loss, but you'll see fight out of these guys. I'm high on Joey McGuire, high on Texas Tech Red Raiders. I'm looking forward to the future McGuire. Is he going to stay in Lubbock for the long run? I think he's going to continue to win there. Not off to a great start. I think they're going to bounce back, though. Would love to see him in a blue blood program, a big name brand. You know, don't want to see it at Florida. That's not the place. That's not what I'm getting at. No. Some other place, not, you know, the conference, you know, let's go with like.
Go West, young man.
Sure. No program comes to mind because I'm like, well, that guy's not leaving. That guy's not leaving. I about went NC State and I was like, well, they're not blue bloods. Anyway, wasting time at this point. So you're taking the over. You're taking the under as well.
I'm going to take the under. I know that's a little risky because Oregon can obviously move the ball up and down the field. We'll see if Texas Tech can prevent that. I think is what it would take. I don't think they're going to contribute much to it in terms of pushing that over. So we're going to see if they can hold Oregon back from doing the heavy lifting there.
And you are taking Texas Tech to win outright, though.
No. Taking Oregon to cover. And
okay. But you want, I got you.
Yeah. Rooting
what
for
you're
Texas
picking
Tech.
And what you want is very different. Make sure you're tuning this one. It's going to be 7:00 on Fox. Make sure that your cable provider, unlike Spectrum, will be providing this game for you. You do not want to miss this one. Will the Texas Tech Red Raiders bounce back? What will Bo Nix look like against some school that's not deaf and blind? Can't wait to tune in this one. Got my money on the Ducks.
Pandemonium reigns.